Hey, what's good? Welcome to Rogue Glitch Trials. So what if the horse is dead? I have a bat, a defibrillator, and a goddamn dream. What is that dream, you ask? To popularize this game, to create a database of new information when I can finally put this game on the map. Because it deserves it. Today, I'm putting this little bastard on trial, RetroBoy, a character model inspired by the Gameboy. This character has to be good, right? Right? No, because it's not the DS. And the DS will always have my heart. These stats are ass. Wait, no. Okay, benefit of the doubt. I need to be a fair judge. Let's just keep going. First things first is unlocking RetroBoy. This takes more than completing a challenge to get. You have to get these 3 retro symbols while you're playing the game. A Pac-Man, Space Invader, and a Super Mushroom. Once you have all 3 of these, a portal spawns that brings you to this room. After that, you simply just go to the end of it, talk to RetroBoy, and proceed to run back and forth across the room until you kill it. Seriously though, this boss is a lot tougher than that. His projectiles are very awkward to dodge, and he randomly sprints to the other side of the map, making this fight very intense. But after all that, you have RetroBoy. Ta-da! Yippee! Wahoo! Fuck. I hate it. As I always do with these videos, I judge each character at its max level, and getting into this character a little bit more, RetroBoy has some of the most depressing stats I have ever seen. Not even 1 whole damage. And it has a negative 40% modifier on it. 25% crit chance. Oh yeah, X4 max health. 25 though? This might be the one thing that saves RetroBoy. A crit chance like that means frequent double damage. 1.2 damage is a bit sketchy though. It's definitely on the lower end of what you need to comfortably pass the first floor. From here, a good run with RetroBoy requires a lot of stat upgrades and something to get rid of that damn 40% mod. A couple things to mention too are the starting items. On crit, RetroBoy shoots bubbles out at the enemy and spawns a fireball that spins around the character's location at the time the crit shot hits the enemy. Both of these do small amounts of damage very frequently while they are touching an enemy, making crits even more powerful. So while the damage output from RetroBoy itself is poor, these starting items make up for that big time. Now that the stats are all covered, it's time for the field test. Starting off in Zone 1, holy shit, this is slow going. At this point in the run, you really feel the significance of the bubbles and fireballs, and you feel your high crit chance having a lot more of an impact than you first would think. You can even see it sorta saving my ass in these tougher spots. Despite all this, your mobility is really good, meaning you can get out of tough situations fairly easy while you're still throwing out chip damage. Items for this first zone looked pretty promising. Burst shots was nice for some extra damage here and there. Homing missile is practically not worth mentioning, and we also got a retro symbol. I decided I could risk it after the health up from the retro symbol and use the health eater, giving me cluster bombs, which made the explosion of the homing missile a little more impactful, but I'll save that info dump for another time. For now, let's look at this. A damage up which tanks after the negative 40% damage mod. And a crit chance increase, which brought that up to 40%. Mega Piranha, the boss, just felt like standing in one spot for most of the fight, so the trigger and crit items were able to put in work. And this item right here is where things got juicy, delicious, scrumptious even. The Infinity Sword boosts crit chance by 30% and gives 0.25 fire rate. Our crit chance is now 70%, and I'm starting to already feel like this run might be a win. Zone 2 doesn't have much to say about it, and I honestly feel like this zone is easier than the first. The movements of enemies here are very smooth and easy to understand compared to all the sharp movements and jumping that Zone 1's enemies do. Having a 70% crit chance was starting to become really fun. Lots of fireballs and bubbles meant that any sizable group of enemies was toast. Something that always makes me laugh is the design of the player tracking on these little yellow guys. I'm fully in front of them, but for some reason, because they're not on the floor like me, they won't attack. I don't know how, but I've managed to actually get a pretty good feel for this awkward tracking, and it's made dealing with them a lot easier. Onto the items though, the first item was this spiked club with a 30% damage modifier, and an almost negligible 3 seconds of no shooting after taking damage. This mimic gave me a Mimic's Blessing and Loaded Shot, which I love since it's probably the most free damage upgrade ever. Stake Launcher made me cream, nothing new there of course, and Extra Shots is just kind of here now I suppose. The Omega Cube, just like the rest of this floor, was easier than Zone 1. You can see in just 2 little waves of fireballs it goes down, and we get a free passage to Zone 3. And bomb on hit. God, fucking hate this item. Shit. But anyways, I can't complain about the chili pepper, but I can complain about the fact that I had 3 bombs and forgot to kill the shopkeeper. Oh well. Lesson learned. Pay the fuck attention. Now look, I'm gonna be incredibly real. Zone 3 and 4 have nothing to contribute to this run in terms of the room-to-room events. I suppose the yellow tri-shot enemies in Zone 3 were a real bitch to deal with, as well as Zone 4 spider enemies, but that's about it for the basic rooms. I will say, however, that the flying faces were fun to watch. They just fly into my fireballs and die. All I care about at this point in the run is getting the fun items. Items that just add to my already game-winning power, you know? Cause why not be cocky? The first item to do this was the jetpack, giving me all the mobility in the world. Oh look, more mobility. The rest of these Zone 3 items just kinda stacked on little bits of extra damage, nothing insane there. The Zone 3 boss is a fair challenge, but something one of my friends pointed out to me the other day is that the difficulty of this fight is practically entirely dictated by how many corrupt pickups you have. The number of tiny purple nuisances on screen will determine how hard this fight is, because Vector Defender itself is really just a bigger orange version of this. A little nuisance on the screen. Even though this fight is relatively easy, actually getting damage in takes a lot longer. The speed the boss moves at and how frequently it jumps gives very little time for my on-crit items to do their thing. After all this, I get a pretty big break for myself on Zone 4, the Crazy Bombs item. If this triggers, I could have a whole room of just instant winning. Zone 4, scale the wall and occasionally fall down it. Also these assholes. Assholes here, assholes there, assholes everywhere. Oh look, a thief, I'll take that off your hands, don't worry now. Back on topic, way late into the floor I had my first instance of the Crazy Bombs activating, meaning this room consists of mashing and carpal tunnel. And this sweet, sweet baby, I love this. All these purple risks turn into beautiful rewards. Okay, so let's break down what we have here. The minion pistol occasionally shoots out minions which jump around and do damage to enemies in their path. Exploding enemies is the best ad clear ever, and can chain enemy explosion deaths from just one kill. I get the explosion synergy, which removes any possible risk of walking into my own explosives. The present gives me head plant and the wrath of God, and I also get an extra jump. You may notice I leave behind the best item in the game, but that's only because I have 4 health at this point, and picking that up would reduce me to 2 max health. I do eventually end up doing this, but only after killing the shopkeeper and getting vampiric instincts, just so I feel a little bit more secure about taking this pendant. After all that breakdown, I finish off my drone synergy, and holy shit, it's dead! Oh my god, it's dead. Fuck, that happened fast. Let's just go. Zone 5. I'm here, I guess. Immediately after the first room, I finish off my jump synergy, allowing me to just have infinite flight if I choose. Like seriously, look at this. I barely touch the ground, and I win. Retro Boy fight. Huge win. At this point, it's just a lightning round. Normal rooms are blown through like me blowing through X's.
This is a joke, please. I've dated like 3 people in my entire life. I don't have a lot of X's.
Oh, look at the little... I max out my crit chance at 100%, and nothing else matters. Except for its theme. 'Cause it's really freaking cool. And there you have it. Looking back at this particular field test with Retro Boy, this was amazing. This is probably the best example for the highs you can reach with Retro Boy. Getting a really high crit chance, shooting all kinds of fireballs and bubbles everywhere. But there's something I can't help but notice. I only won this because of the crit chance. If it weren't for that, the damage would not have been high enough for me to survive all of Stage 6 and probably any of Stage 5. I think Retro Boy is a great character if you get a really good run. You need a lot of damage ups or a lot of crit chance to do this though. Because of this, I almost don't think this character was made with a lot of late game in mind. Like it was made to be a early game fun run character and just sort of a novelty. With a run like this, however, Retro Boy can be one of the best damage dealers in the game easily. So for Retro Boy, I suppose we could give this little fella a 5.5 out of 10. Not the worst, but there's too many downsides to make this character something I would consistently play. Other than that, thanks for watching, live great lives, make yourselves proud, and see you later.